Ladies and gentlemen, boils and ghouls of all ages, welcome to Pokemon Diamond version. I've been trying to do Pokemon playthroughs for a good long while now, and it has not gone well.
Oh, cool. Now, give me a Pokemon. Give me a Pokemon. Give me a Pokemon.
So I've decided that what I'm going to do today is try and change that, but I'm going to add a little bit of a challenge for myself. I've been discussing this for a while, and let's not sit through this entire opening sequence again. Just, Anyway, so what I'm going to be doing here is monotype challenges. Again, I've been discussing this for a while, and I said I wanted to do Pokemon Moon as my first one because I wanted to do Ghost for my first one. And I've got no way of actually recording that. But more importantly, even with doing that, there's another game I could do and do the exact same thing for, and that's Pokemon Black and White 2. But if I do that before Black and White 1, that's going to be a problem, and Black and White 1 has kind of an issue. So I decided let's go ahead and start off with the games that I started with, which were Diamond and Pearl, and work from there. Because Generation 4, it's pretty widely liked by most of the Pokemon fandom. But Generation 5 a lot of people don't like, and I'm not quite sure why that is. We'll see when I go through it again. When I go through it again for this, for the channel. Sorry, I'm just trying to take in this music. I really like the music at the opening of this game. Let's see, I could go for the adventure info, but I think that's lost on a lot of people at this point. So I think I'll just skip it. Basically, the adventure info that you're given is, hey, this is about personal growth. Why don't you do that? Tell that to the fan community that's all dedicated to battling. Alright. Also, because this is a DS game, there's going to be a lot of touchscreen things. This was one of the first few games that actually used, that. This is the first DS Pokemon game. It was one of the first DS games that was going to be a big deal in the first place. So, you're going to see a lot more of this kind of thing. What do I do? Obviously, you conduct research because you're a Pokemon professor. Now, because I have such a bad sense of time, I can't quite remember when the DS came out. I think it was almost the same year as the SP, though. And Diamond and Pearl came out, I want to say 2007, like middle to late 2007, but I'm probably wrong on that. Alright, so my name, if you don't happen to know this, welcome. This is going to be very interesting. Now, like I said, I'm going to be doing a monotype playthrough, and as you can clearly see on the layout here, I'm going to be doing that with Poison. That being said, I also want to have a full party on my hands at all times, so I'm going to be doing that. So the rules I'm going to instate are as follows. Well, hang on. Despite the exploration team's best efforts, however, the rare unrecorded Pokemon eluded detection. The rumored Red Gyarados failed to appear even fleetingly to the crestfallen game. that concludes our special report, Search for the Red Gyarados. Brought to you by Jubilife TV on Nationwide Net. See you next week, same time, same bat channel. I've seriously not done a single take without making that joke. Okay! This isn't the first take, just so you guys are aware. Oh man. It's been a while since I've been properly back to the Sinnoh region, so maybe I'll find out this game may not be the best. But you know what? Black and White are my favorite games, so this is not the one I'd need to learn is not the best one in the set. Although realistically, I do think it's very strong. I remember almost every single location. The music is very memorable. And the plot's decent. When you get into Pokemon Platinum, it really goes off the rails and starts making no sense. So Diamond and Pearl, I think, are supposed to be the canonical ones, even though Platinum is just a better all-around game. But the plot in Platinum really doesn't make sense to me. So I prefer Diamond and Pearl, even though the Ghost Legendary is Platinum. Now, let's go over... yes, I know, wild Pokemon live in the tall grass and they'll jump me if I go in. Hopefully I don't have a friend who's stupid enough to try and run into the tall grass. Alright, rules I'm planning on actually doing for this. Okay, so I'm starting with Turtwig, just like the last take. And if you couldn't guess from what I just said, yes, I'm doing that oh-so-popular Nuzlocke rule of the first number of my training ID determines the starter I'll be using, but only the secondary type of the starter will determine whether or not they're actually going to be properly used at the end of the game. Which means I could use Decidueye because I was planning on doing Ghost for Pokemon Moon, but I wouldn't be able to use any of the Johto starters, and I plan on doing Water for Black and White 1, so Samurott would not actually be valid for me. If I was doing Fighting, I could use Emboar, but I'm doing Water, so... And yes, I'll be getting to that eventually. So if you've not seen the actual... I'm playing this as though you know about Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, but in case you are kind of confused, we are running around just trying to keep up with our rival. Going over to... Here's something that I'm kind of confused about. Well, let's not actually save. When I first played this game, I had no actual clue where I was supposed to go. So usually, if you just walk up to around here or so, that guy right here is going to stop you and tell you, hey, go see your rival. Alright. And then you go into his house and he's like, okay, let's go to the lake. And now he's about to explain why. The furious Pokemon in the lake. You know, the red Gyarados, doesn't that correlate to the one you see in Gold and Silver? Our local lake has a Pokemon like that in it too. I don't think there'd be a Gyarados in the lake, otherwise the town wouldn't be standing, genius. Yeah, most people probably don't actually think about the fact that you can turn around and talk to your rival, but you can order creatures to fight each other. It's cool! Okay, that is a legitimately good point. Let's go everywhere and do everything. That lake has a strange Pokemon living in it. Everyone says nothing lives there, but I know I'm right. Sure you are. Well, luckily for you, we are here at the Lake of Emotions, Lake Verity. I kind of like... Well... Sorry, I'm enjoying the music again. I'm gonna do that a lot in this game, just where I sit back and just let the music flow through you. Because the music in Diamond and Pearl, in spite of the fact that most people may not appreciate it, I love it. I guess it's not too terribly surprising because like I'm a big fan of the Kirby series, but music in games is a really big deal for me. I think that's one of the hardest parts of Ori is the fact that you don't have much of a soundtrack throughout the normal game. It's just at certain intense times, like... And that's all almost exclusively a vocal soundtrack after that. Regardless, So yeah, the Mario games usually have some decent music. Kirby games, they recycle a lot of music, but whenever they make new stuff, it's still just as good as the old. And yes, Tyson drags us into the tall grass just to look at a briefcase that a professor left behind for reasons. Look, these are Pokeballs. Let's battle using these. Sorry, this is one of the best tracks in the game, and you only hear it briefly. It's like 14 seconds long. And they don't have this in Platinum. Alright, so we're going to be going with Turtwig. I just want to go over the other two starters first. Chimchar. I'm going to go ahead and say this now. I don't like chimp or monkey Pokemon. There's no actual reason for it, I just don't like them. But Chimchar is the best option, is the best of the three different starters that evolve into firefighting, and Infernape is... I think it's a general rule that that's the best of the set before the Mega Evolutions were added in, solely due to the fact that, you know, the ability is the same between all three of them. It wasn't until hidden abilities were added that there was any serious difference aside from stats and move pools. Chimchar's line is focused on being a mixed sweeper, which means it can do either physical or special attacking, and it's going to be fast. And I don't try to talk too terribly much about that kind of deal, but in case anyone's actually interested. Piplup, this was the first Pokemon I ever picked, and there's kind of a similarity between this Pokemon's name and mine, but I'll leave that there. Piplup, of course, is my favorite of all the starters, in spite of the fact that it's the one the game kind of makes you regret. Yes, you have Electric as the final gym of the game, but more importantly, while Empoleon is Water Steel, which is the best defensive typing in Diamond and Pearl, it only is beaten by Magnezone in Platinum. The moves that these three have make it really tough on Piplup to do any good against a rival. But, you want it? Go right ahead, because it's a solid Pokemon. It will do you very well. The only downside I can tell you is that it does learn a lot more physical moves than it should as a special tank. So, special defense and special attack are its two best stats. It's also not the slowest of the bunch. That actually goes to Turtwig. But, if you've seen the top 10 list, you know Torterra is also one of my top 10 favorite Pokemon. And even if it's at the bottom of that list and it's probably been knocked off now thanks to Sun and Moon, Torterra is grass ground. Ground type gives it some pretty good moves. And honestly, this guy is going to be a powerhouse in terms of offensive capabilities. And I do like the fact that you have one that's going to be good at physical moves, one that's going to be good with special moves, and then one that's a mix of both. and the Mix is the faster one, but it can't take hits for anything. And I think Turtwig has the most weaknesses of the bunch, made even worse by the fact that Grass Ground is doubly weak to ice. But Empoleon's also weak to the fighting and ground of the final forms of the 2 starters. So, realistically, there are worse setups. Anyway, let's go ahead and actually pick Turtwig, because we're supposed to. Now again, I won't be finishing the game with Turtwig, because it does not match up with the poison type I'm going to be running through the game. And I got a female starter. Okay, that's kind of cool, but also still kind of useless to me. The 2 moves each starter is going to have. Turtwig is going to have Tackle, which is 35 power, 95 accuracy, so you're going to be missing at all with this guy. And Withdraw is going to boost your defense. Withdraw being the only time you get a status move on a starter at level 5 that's not going to be normal type. Matter of fact, you didn't see any type move on a starter that wasn't normal up until Generation 6. And every starter in Black and White and Black White 2 had Tackle, which got boofed. Boofed? I was trying to say buffed and boosted at the same time. Boofed. But Tackle got buffed to 50 power, 100 accuracy in Generation 5. And then the other 2 starters have, for Chimchar, it's Scratch and Leer. Scratch having 40 power and 100 accuracy. Leer lowering defense, which matches Turtwig's boosting defense. And then Piplup has Pound, which is the same as Scratch. And Growl, which lowers attack. So it is really the worst one to pick of the set, considering the fact that you're going to be fighting a Pokemon that will be constantly boosting its defense. You'll just be lowering its attack. And while that makes sense, considering the fact that Turtwig is physically powerful, you're stuck with a physical move for a long while. Matter of fact, it's till level 8, so have fun with that. And yes, Dawn came in, freaked out about the fact that we stole 2 of the Pokemon from the briefcase, and now is running back to tell the professor. And Tyson is dragging us out. I know the character's like canon name is Barry or Pearl. I don't care. I really don't care at all. So we're just gonna go with it. Alright. Now we can always turn back around and talk to the rival again, but it's not worth it. I'm not doing a lot of the dialogue for some reason. I heard from Dawn that you used our Pokemon. Let me see them. So that's how it is. I'm going back to my lab. I'm not sure if the professor's acting like a spoiled child. No, I'm kidding. I think he was like, you took this Pokemon from me. It obeyed you? Let's have a look. I'm gonna go analyze this. Which makes sense, he's a scientist. He's a scientist! Don't actually add that clip, Quill. Future Quill, don't add that clip.
He's a scientist!
So yeah. Now we're back home. And we're going to have to run off to Sand Gem Town. I believe we'll be getting our shoes with instructions because, of course. And a lot of people complain that Diamond and Pearl have some slow movement. I can agree with that, but not at the same time. That makes any sense. And I think let's just go ahead and round this off by going to see the professor. The Persephor. And because some people are going to be curious, go ahead and show this. Alright, so we have a female Turtwig. It is at level 5. It needs 28 experience to level up. Naughty nature, likes spicy food, and alert to sounds. The nature will determine the food it likes and dislikes. I believe naughty nature means it likes spicy food and dislikes bitter, I want to say. It's either bitter or dry that dislikes. It's one of those two. Let's see. 13 attack, 11 defense, 10 special attack, 9 and 9 for special defense and speed, and then 21 attack. With it being alert to sounds, it's going to have speed as its highest individual value, and if you want to know what that means, I am not the person to talk to about this. Talk to a competitive battler. And Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, the 4th generation games, did introduce a lot of features. I think the most popular one is the physical special split. We'll talk about that later. But one thing that most people don't actually talk too much about is that certain Pokemon have gender differences. So if you saw that Starly from earlier, and compared it to this one side by side, you'd realize that the white patch on the top of this Starly's head is larger. That's because it's a male. The only starter to have gender differences throughout its entire evolutionary line is Torchic. That being said, most starters don't have a gender difference, and I think the ones that do... I'm going to see if I can go through the list now. I think the only ones that are going to have proper gender difference are Venusaur, Meganium, and Blaziken. I think that's it. Future Quill, if you had to correct me on that, thank you. Let's go up this lane in the tall grass without getting interrupted. We're fighting a lot of Starly for this one. Now, when I play this game in my spare time, of course I choose Piplup or Turtwig, and it doesn't matter to me which one I have, because they'll both do you solid. Even if Chimchar is supposedly the best of the trio. I mean, really, what starter out there is not going to be a good starter in any way, shape, or form? You may have a harder time playing ones than others, but what starter Pokemon out there is actually a bad starter? None of them. If you have a hard time with a starter, you just don't know how to play it. And granted, some are going to give you a harder time than others. Heck, I think Meganium's probably one of the worst ones for its generation. But I don't know. Usually, before I even go see the professor, though, I've level grinded up to level 8. And that's because I just like these starters that much. I don't do much level grinding normally in Pokemon, but I don't know. I feel like it's an accomplishment just because I got to freaking level 8 with my starter on the first route because, hey, that takes some effort. I'm willing to put in effort on these guys. Talk to that guy, you get a potion. He'll also tell you that you can get potions from Pokemarts. And I think after this fight, we're just going to wrap this up. I don't know if I want to cut out fights in this game. I might just speed them up. One thing's for sure, though, because I'm trying to do the layout, if there's anything else I actually need to do, I'm probably going to wind up processing the videos for this series twice. Which is going to be interesting. But this is going to take a lot more effort than what I'm used to doing. And I think we're just going to go ahead and wrap this up here. It's not been too terribly long. don't even think I went over all the actual rules of the playthrough, just the important one about the starters. But that's okay, because this is something kind of new to me, and I want to introduce this slowly to you guys. We'll probably make it up to Jubilife City by next episode, and when we get to that point, we should be able to start the actual Monotype run. Until then, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you all some other time.